Folks have turned to online shopping in droves. Plus, for a while, there was a decline in discretionary spending, doubtless due both to falling incomes and crippled consumer confidence. When they do leave the house to shop or travel, people seem to be sticking very close to home and favoring companies that show they take safety seriously. They aren't hanging around to browse and thus buy more. All of this greatly impacts small businesses. The shutdowns dramatically lessened foot traffic, which stores and restaurants count on. What's more, most small businesses run on super tight margins and can't weather month after month of revenue shortfalls. Companies have been forced to adapt quickly to consumer behavior changes. They have had to reimagine themselves and their products and make massive changes to their retail environments, their marketing, and more. For instance, business owners and leaders have suddenly become very aware they must digitally transform in order to serve customers who expect a seamless digital experience. This was already happening, but COVID accelerated it. New consumer behaviors are requiring many businesses to completely overhaul their strategies. None of this is easy. At the same time all of this has occurred, COVID has transformed the workplace. Think about all that has become routine that could scarcely have been imagined less than a year ago. Masks, social distancing, new cleaning and sanitation routines. If you still go into an office, a brick-and-mortar store, or a restaurant, to name just a few, your work life looks very different. Of course, that's a big if, since many people are working remotely. If your business is one of the many that have gone virtual, you know the new setup changes the dynamics of interaction between employees and leaders. Of course, as fate would have it, this massive change is happening when teams most need to up the teamwork and collaboration factors. So much has to happen virtually, and it's a challenge for leaders to create engaging interactions over Zoom. At the beginning of the pandemic, air travel was severely curtailed. This is still the case to some extent, though the numbers of people flying have definitely picked up. What this means for businesses is that conferences and learning have been disrupted. Selling is tougher when it can't happen face-to-face. It's hard to get dispersed teams together to collaborate. Many people are still afraid to get on a plane, and companies are reluctant to insist on it for legal and ethical reasons. Needless to say, the new way of working is tough on employees. There's a lot of fear and anxiety around catching the virus when people have to come into a physical workplace. Those working remotely often have to deal with issues like homeschooling kids. And even if layoffs haven't directly occurred in an organization, fear of them is palpable among the workforce. All of this can threaten productivity. It also forces leaders to lead in new ways and pay more attention to the mental and emotional health of their employees. Employers are under pressure to learn all kinds of new things. As mentioned, we've been forced to rethink the way we lead. Also, we've had to master new processes and procedures for keeping employees and customers safe. What do you do when someone in your business gets sick? What are the rules and regulations around the CARES Act and other grants or loans that might be available? Last but not least are the legal obligations. Can you insist employees come to work or travel if they are uncomfortable with it? All this is stressful and time-consuming. All of the changes we've had to navigate since early spring of 2020 are not necessarily bad, they're just different. Of course, change is hard for all of us, but once we get used to a new way of doing things, we usually find there are benefits. For example, the expansion of telehealth has potentially increased access to medical professionals for many patients. We have just spent a lot of time focusing on COVID. That's because, in many ways, it's the straw that broke the camel's back. Yet that camel was already staggering. There have been, and will continue to be,